Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 24th, 2025, and Jan Laporta has spoken about the whole Nico Williams ordeal for the first time. Also, Roma going all out for the signing of Marc Bernal. And finally, there's interest in Jan Virgili. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that FC Barcelona's president Jan Laporta has spoken about the whole Nico Williams ordeal for the first time since the player, well, in my opinion, made the biggest mistake of his career and decided to stay at this mediocre club called Athletic Club de Bilbao. Now, this is what the Barcelona president had to say about how the whole situation developed. Now, Laporta said it was a more complicated area than the goalkeeping position due to the opinions coming from all sides. And there were several options, and I'm very happy because we ended up getting the option I liked the most. It's true that I also liked Luis Diaz, a very complete player, but due to his circumstances with Liverpool very entrenched, it was complicated. Although I appreciate the player who always wanted to come. The Nico Williams situation also happened, and given that Luis' situation was complicated and that we were in the process of negotiation with Rashford, Nico's agent came to me offering the possibility of signing him. So Jan Laporta explaining how the whole situation developed, saying that they were considering Rashford and Luis Diaz, with Jan Laporta wanting Marcus Rashford. But while they were considering, the whole Luis Diaz versus versus Rashford, all of a sudden, Nico's agent knocked on Barcelona's door and said, hey, wait a minute. Nico Williams wants to come. And this is when the Nico Williams came into the equation, which is something, of course, I did report about this channel, about how Nico Williams' agent is the one who reached out to Barcelona saying, hey, my player wants to come to Barca. Please consider him. Now, let's continue, because Laporta stated that it was Deco who told them to look or consider Nico Williams. Now, this is what Jan Laporta had to say. Deco told me about it. In principle, I prefer to work on the other two options. Of course, talking about Rashford and Luis Diaz. But in these cases, I always listen to the sporting director. He said we should at least listen because he's an interesting player, because he holds his own on the wing. So Jan Laporta pretty much saying, hey, I was considering Rashford or Luis Diaz. Nico Williams' agent knocks on our door, says he's interested in coming, and it's Deco who tells me, hey, consider Nico. But I wasn't considering Nico. It was Deco who told me consider Nico, and that's why I decided to consider him. And I think what Laporta's doing here is he's trying to shift the blame and say, hey, I had nothing to do with this. I wanted Rashford from the beginning. It's Nico Williams who came to us, and it's Deco who told me to look at him, and that's why I did. Which I think is not the smartest move to do, because A, you're throwing your own sporting director under the bus, shifting the whole blame on him, and it's like, what are you doing? Even if this is true, and your sporting director is a total dumbass, at the end of the day, you're the one who hired that dumbass. So you too are a dumbass by extension, because you're the one who hired him. It's not like Deco is someone who was hired by Bartomeu, and Laporta's like, look, that guy is Bartomeu's hiring. He's an idiot just like Bartomeu. I want nothing to do with this. No. You hired him. So if you're trying to blame him and saying he's the idiot who fell for the whole thing, well, you're the idiot too, because you're the one who hired him. And two, again, even if this is true and it's Deco who's blamed for this, you don't say that in public, because you're causing division within your own board that you chose. You say, hey, we considered three options: Rashford, Luis Diaz, Nico. Luis Diaz was too expensive. Nico made sense because of his age and his price. He trolled us. Fuck him. So we went for Rashford. And then behind closed doors, you go and tell Deco, hey, man, you're an idiot. Don't do that again, or you're fired, or whatever. But to just come out in public and just throw the whole blame on your own sporting director, which you yourself hired, I mean, what are we doing here? But anyways, let's continue, because then Laporta shed some light on how the whole negotiations things happened with Nico Williams. And this is what the Barcelona president had to say. Negotiations took place, but from what they told us to what it ended up being, there was a big difference in the payment terms, the agent's commission, and a series of variables that already suggested the deal wouldn't happen. Deco set a 48-hour deadline, and if they didn't accept our terms, we wouldn't do the deal. In the end, it didn't happen. In parallel, work continued on the other two, and Rashford became clearer. So Laporta stating that, there was disagreement about payment and how much commission the agent wanted. And Deco said, look, you have 48 hours to accept. If you don't, we're going somewhere else. Which, of course, again, we kind of know that wasn't really the case. The big question mark was the registration guarantees. Nico Williams' agent wanted it. Barcelona were like, we're not going to give it, which, by the way, I still believe that was the right decision that Barcelona made, because the agent wanted, hey, we want like guarantees immediately. As soon as you sign him, he's registered. If not, he gets to leave for free. And it's like, I don't think so, bro, because if we just spent 62 million euros on signing the guy, he's not just going to leave for free the next day. So I think Barcelona made the right decision. But here, Laporta kind of trying to rewrite history to make it look like, we were the ones who did everything right, and it's Nico, and it's like, bro, there's no need to do this. There's no need to come out and say, oh, I wanted Rashford from day one, and that's what we ended up getting, so I win. Ha, ha, ha. It's Deco's fault. It's Nico's fault. It's his agent's fault. Everyone's fault except me. There's no need to do this, bro. Look, he trolled us. Just say that. We were considering 3 options. Luis Diaz was too expensive. Nico Williams made sense because of his age and his price. He trolled us. Fuck him. It's his loss, which it is. It is his loss because he decided to stay at a mediocre club. He's not going to win anything for the rest of his career, where he could have came to Barcelona and won many trophies. So now we went with Rashford. Just say that, bro. Just be honest. There's no need for this. But anyways, let's continue because, ladies and gentlemen, AS Roma are heavily interested in the signing of Marc Bernal. Now, it looks like AS Roma have contacted Barcelona to express their interest in signing Marc Bernal, and in fact, they've also contacted the players' circle and agent to express their desire. And even though there's plenty of interest in Marc Bernal, because it is Marc Bernal, it looks like AS Roma are very serious on taking the Barcelona midfielder. But of course, no matter how much interested they are, Barcelona consider Marc Bernal as untransferable. And in fact, Hansi Flick considers Marc Bernal an indispensable piece of his project. He recognizes the potential and the talent that the player has, and he's not willing to let him go. And of course, in Barcelona, they know that Marc Bernal is said to be, one of the greats. In fact, all of his coaches all throughout the academy assure that Marc Bernal will be one of the best, if not the best, number 5 or pivot in all of the world, where they assured that he will be the next Sergio Busquets for Barcelona, and that he's one of those players who are special, just like Lamine Yamal is in the attack or Pau Victor in the defense. Barcelona's coaches guarantee that Marc Bernal will be the next best thing in the entire world as far as the midfield. So sorry, Roma, no matter how interested you are, Bernal is not going anywhere. Now, one player that is going somewhere is, of course, Pao Victor, who I told you in yesterday's podcast that Barcelona had reached an agreement with Sporting Braga for the transfer of Pao Victor for a total of 12 million euros fixed plus 3 million euros in variables. And as I told you, the clubs had reached agreements, but the player was still negotiating personal terms with Sporting Braga. And the new news is, or the new update is, that Pao Victor has reached an agreement with Sporting Braga, personal agreement with the Portuguese club, which means that this deal is done. The player has reached an agreement with the club. Both clubs have reached an agreement between each other. So tomorrow, Friday, Pao Victor will be traveling to Portugal to undergo medical testing and then sign his contract. He will become a new player of Sporting Braga, and where Barcelona again will receive 12 million euros fixed plus 3 million euros in variables. However, as I told you in yesterday's podcast, Girona did retain 30% of any future sales, so Girona will get 30% of those 15 million euros that Barcelona will get for the transfer of Pao Victor. Now, speaking of attackers, we will end today's video with the news that there's currently heavy interest in Jan Virgili, the Barcelona winger who joined Barcelona last summer from Nastic. He was key in Juveniles A winning of the treble. He was also key in the Spanish, I think it was under 19 team. But anyways, made a lot of impression. A lot of people had high hopes for him during this preseason. But Hansi Flick decided that even though Jan Virgili looks very promising and has lots of potential, he's still not ready yet to become a first-team player. So he sent them back down to Barca Athletic. And even though Giuliano Belletti, who is the Barca Athletic coach, wants to count on a player, it's reported that now Mallorca have taken heavy interest in Jan Virgili. Now, there's plenty of interest in Virgili from second division, but it looks like Mallorca in first division, who just signed Pablo Torre from Barcelona, are very interested in taking the player on loan. But of course, right now there's debate within the club. You know, on one hand, Virgili going to Mallorca and playing one season loan in first division would go a long way in helping the player develop and continue growing. But on the other hand, Giuliano Belletti wants to have Virgili on his team to help him, you know, get promoted from fourth to third division. So there's currently disagreement in the club on what to do in regards to Virgili. But look, either way, I think I'm okay with either option. If he goes on loan to Mallorca, I think it would be huge for him to play first division. And if he doesn't and stays at Barca Athletic to help Giuliano Belletti get promoted, I think that's also a benefit for the club. But of course, my question to you is, what would you like to see in regards to Jan Virgili? Would you like to see him go on loan to Mallorca? Would you like to see him stay at Barca Athletic? Let me know down below in the comments section. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barca.